Before we get started, I got to give a little shout out to Hafty. Hafty is the perfect layering shirt for women. It adds a sleeve and a neckline to all of your sleeveless tops, dresses, and jumpers and allows you to wear all of today's fashions without all the extra bulk and heat, but you get to do it modestly. So I've actually got one on. This is our brand new ruche sleeve, cuts off right here. It is perfect for this maxi dress and just gives me a more modest coverage, but it also lets me extend my wardrobe all year round. Go ahead and use Her Layered Life to save 15% off your first purchase. Go check us out at hafty.com. Welcome to Her Layered Life, where we talk with women business owners about faith, family, business, and every relationship in between. Here's the truth. Women drive over 80 trillion in global spending every single year. Yet only 2% of those dollars go to women-owned businesses. What if we took that to 5%? We could change the dynamics of our economy and millions of lives. One story, one layer, one woman at a time. Because her life is layered and her influence can change the world. Hey everyone, and welcome back to the show. I first met today's guest, Allyse Jackson, at the Female Founders event in Glacier. And we were supposed to be going on like a quick little 2-mile run. I mean, we had met and chatted before this, but this was like my core memory of Allyse. And we, with Mel, we had Mel on a few weeks ago from Tobique, but we were supposed to go on a cute little 2-mile run. What ended up being 5 miles later, she was still running, and she hadn't run for years, but she literally just kept smiling, kind of chuckling to herself. And she's like, well, we're still running. And I feel like we were just taking like every street that came our way. It was like, okay, well, let's run down that street and see how far we can go. Ultimately, it ended up in being a 5-mile run. And honestly, that is the moment and is in that experience that told me everything I needed to know about her. That's exactly how she approaches life, with grit, joy, and a contagious energy that pulls people in. Allyse is the founder and CEO of Beehive Mills, a company that started as a simple idea that grew from just the starts of her own kitchen and is now one of Utah's fastest rising businesses, delivering ready-to-cook meals to thousands of families every single month. But beyond the success, what stands out most is her leadership. She's built a culture where her team is all in, not just because of what they do, but because of how she leads. Today, we're talking about how Beehive Mills came to life, how she created a company that people love working for, and the lessons she's learned about faith, growth, and leading with heart. So, welcome, Allyse.
Hey, thanks for having me. I was like, I don't know, that was a very nice intro. Thanks, Amanda.
Hey, you bet. You bet. So Allyse and I first met, like I said, in Glacier. Ironically, a lot of the people that I've had on just as we started this podcast is all the women I met at Glacier. It was like the perfect little intro to all these awesome, amazing women that kind of has really jump started this podcast, honestly.
Yeah, no, the female founder trips that I've been on, 3 of them now, and every single one, like I get something different out of each one. Glacier was so fun. It just, being in the outdoors. To your point, you'd mentioned we went on a run, and I had not ran in years. I had a baby a year ago, and then so being pregnant, all these things, and we got it was like 2.5 miles in, and I think you were like, should we see like how far we are? We're like, oh crap, we're 2.5 miles
away. Yeah, we got to go home.
It's like, all right, well.
And Mel was like a little
on the street. It was like mountains. We were in the mountains.
Yes, you're right. I feel like that is a very important detail, that we were in the mountains running on these paved roads. So we weren't trail running, but we were running into, there was a lot of dead ends in the mountains, way more than I thought there would be.
And anyways, I played it off cool, but like when I got home, I couldn't walk for weeks.
Well, you had soccer season coming up. So Allyse plays soccer.
Yeah.
You had soccer season coming up. And I feel like you were like, this is a great start, because you said a lot of times you start your soccer season just way out of shape and you end up like puking your guts out because you don't know how to like pace and gradually get back into shape. You're just like all or nothing.
No, I'm usually like, I just came off of having a baby, didn't work out at all during my pregnancy. I'm like, I'm actually gonna play a whole soccer season now. Let's do it. That sounds like a good.
I love it. I love it. Well, thanks again. Thanks so much for coming on. I want to start. Well, first of all, for those of you who follow me on social, you know that I love Beehive Mills. And it really has. And I'm actually so angry at myself that it's taken me this long to find you. I mean, and it kind of circulates and you think about it, but then a lot of times too, when you meet the person behind the company, all of a sudden you're like, oh, heck yeah, I'm getting behind this, right? I want to try this out.
Yeah.
But I'm so mad because I was just telling my friend this morning, when I love something, right? Like, and everyone has to hear about it. Everyone has to talk about it. Like my kids are like, yes, mom, I know. We know you love it. Like, so Penny this morning, my friend Penny that I work out with, I was like, Pen, when I get out of Beehive Mill, like I feel this joy enter my body because I know that I've already killed the worst part of my day, right? Like, I'm killing this. I've got dinner out. I've got it on. It is cooking and I don't have to do jack squat. And I said, Pen, the best part is I cut the top off. I dump it in and then I take this 2 pieces of plastic and I put it in the garbage and I'm cleaned up after. Like, it's just, anyways, it really is one of my favorite hacks when it comes to momhood. So I just want to talk about, and your story is so amazing. It's so cute and it's so down to earth. I just want to talk about how did you start? Where did it come from? Where did Beehive Mills begin?
Yeah. So going back to 2019, it was around like July, August timeframe. And my husband was working for a small business here in Utah. And unfortunately, he had been there almost 2 years at the time. And the owner was making not great financial decisions. And so it was very clear that the company was on its way under, which is unfortunate with, kind of the nature of small businesses. Like a couple bad decisions really can put you under.
Yes.
And so there would be times where like payroll would go to hit and like there's no money in our bank account. Like it didn't like process. And so it's like, shoot, like it was very clear he wasn't going to have a job. And so um he actually went to work one morning. We had 2 kids at the time. So I had a 2-year-old and a 9-month-old. And it was kind of like, "Hey, like, what am I good at that can make money, that could get us by in the short term until my husband Adam figures out something more long term, whether that's another job." He's always been, I always say, the entrepreneur in our family. Like, we've dabbled, and it was more his idea than mine. Um, so I just needed to buy him time, essentially. So he went to work. I woke up one morning. I pulled out my cell phone. My kids were still in bed. And I opened up, the notes app on your phone and titled it Things I'm Good At. I just started making a list of things. And it was like I was a stay at home mom. So it was very homemaker type things. Like I didn't get my college degree when I was going to college. It was going to be for dental hygiene. Like that never ended up panning out because I had babies. So it was like very homemaker type things like baking and crocheting, and freezer meals was on that list. And so when I started kind of thinking through possibilities, I was like, "Okay, like freezer meals, I already do this for my family. Like I could do all the shopping, I could prep it, I could deliver it to people. Like I already do all of this." So I was like, "Okay, like I'm going to do it. It's going to be a menu of 10 meals. Like I'll just throw this up on like a Facebook mobbing group. We're here in Davis County, so it was just here in Davis County, and um it was something that like I threw it up. I went and got Adobe stock photography because I didn't have any like content to
Yes.
post.
Yes.
So I Adobe stock photography, put a little picture collage together. I have all the recipes, so I list the meals, post it, and immediately it like takes off. And day one, and it was like people were like, "Yes, like how do I pay you?" And I was like, "Oh, I don't know." Like Venmo account. I didn't have Venmo. Hurry set that up. So I was like, just pay me like half now and like half when I deliver. Cause like, I don't know what I'm doing. And so money just like orders start to coming in. And I'm like, oh my gosh. And in that first day, I did over $10,000 in sales. And it was And my husband was at work, and so I called him, and it was like, um, "I think I just started a business." And he's like, "Okay." Like, and I had no idea what I was doing. I thought I could do this out of my, like, my home, my kitchen, and I remember we started telling family about it, and my mother-in-law called me, she's like, "You cannot do this out of your home." Like, and I was like, "Yes, I can." I'm like, "People do, like, baked goods all the time." She's like, "Yeah, you're not baked goods. You're, like, raw chicken and vegetables and, like, raw and, like, just it's not like cookies or
Right.
cakes."
Or bread.
Like, you can't do that.
Yes.
So, I mean, there was this whole, like, time frame where, that was about beginning of August by that point, and September is when I was gonna do my first delivery, so I had gave myself about a month. In that time frame, I had to figure out commercial kitchen. I had to figure out, I guess I also learned that I couldn't just get, um, like a food
Handling
handler's
permit.
like
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
I needed, like, a food safety manager certificate, which is actually a college course that
Oh,
you can, like, do at your own pace, but then you have to go take the proctored test, so it's like, I, like, crammed for that. Took my test, passed. Like so anyways, that was kind of, like, the start of it, was that, like, August, September of 2019, and it's just been nuts ever since then.
so break down, you did $10,000 in the first day, and then did you turn it off? Like, you're like, "Okay, that's all I can hack." How many I mean, I call them boxes because that's what they are now, right? But what did you call them? Like, on your post, what did it say? Get 10 meals?
Be a set of 10 meals, and I listed the meals and the price, and, I basically set, like, I would deliver it on this day, and so
Yeah.
what I did was, it was like, 'kay, I gave myself until September to deliver, and I think it was, like, I s I picked a Thursday, whatever the 1st Thursday of September was, like, that
Yeah.
was the delivery day, and then it was like, I think I took on, like, 12 to 14 customers in a day, and I was like, "Okay, that I think that's because that's 120 to 140 meals," and I was like, "'Kay,
Yeah.
like, I think I can do that, so, like, we're gonna stop there," and then I'd open up, like, the next week's Thursday. So I pretty much sold all of September because 'cause I'd, like, sell to 12 to 14 people, and I'd be like, "Okay, never mind, like, this would be the new delivery date," and so I pretty much sold all of September. That's where I got, like, the $10,000. It was probably around 50 to 60-ish orders in
But
the
that's
end initially.
600 meals.
Yes, that I committed myself to, and then I was kind of like, "Okay, no more." We're like, I don't even know how I'm pulling all of this off, but
Right.
well, so here's something I don't share very often. So the original list, I was thinking I'd do like slow cooker meals, I'd do like oven ready meals. So I had an oven ready meal on there. It was spaghetti casserole. It's my mom's recipe. I love it so much. And I remember going to my mom and being like, "Hey, I need your spaghetti casserole recipe." And she's like, "Okay, great." She's like, "It's just in my recipe." It's the old school. She has like the
Right.
recipe, like container.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
go in there and I pull out, the spaghetti casserole recipe and I, copy it down and I take it home and I made 30 of them. And I remember making them and it had ketchup in it. And I was kind of like, this seems so weird. Like, I don't ever remember tasting ketchup in my mom's spaghetti casserole recipe. And I made 30 of them, and then I cooked one to test it because I was like, "This doesn't seem right." It was disgusting. It was so awful. So I called my mom, and I was like, "What the crap, mom?"
Yeah.
"Oh, I have 2 recipe cards in there. You pulled the wrong one." It's like, "Are
Oh,
you kidding me? I made 30 of these, and I cannot give these to people."
because they taste like crap?
Yeah, and I was like, "Okay, we're not doing oven ready meals." I think I switched at that point. I came up with our, ravioli lasagna that's a slow cooker meal.
Okay. Yeah.
I had to, like, pawn off 30 disgusting spaghetti. I think I took it to extended family, like,
You did?
party, and I was like, "Does anyone want these?" 'Cause nobody I don't want, like I was like, "Don't judge me off the way they taste."
Right, you're like, "What was your pitch? Does anybody want this awful casserole?"
Basically, I'm like, they're like, "Sure."
Okay. Wow.
Yeah.
Took one for the team.
Yeah. So, and then I
Hmm.
decided, like, "Nope, we're gonna stick slow cooker meals after that."
So
And not
awesome.
ask my mom for her recipes. I had to, like
Mom, you're
My mom
fired.
was a very good cook. She just had, like, that one-off, like, ketchup spaghetti casserole in there that
And the
wasn't so
best
well.
part is that she knew it tasted like crap and she still kept it in there.
Right?
Yes.
Like, why didn't you get rid of that one?
Right, like, she probably hasn't made it for 10
Mm-mm.
years, and she's still in
Never
there.
had spaghetti casserole with ketchup, so
Oh, that is funny. So, in the earlier stages, like, in the early stages, what I mean, it sounds like we already talked about, but what was your biggest challenge?
yeah, so, I mean, initially, it was my own time, right? Like, I could only take on so much, and so I pretty much sold all of September. We go on, and I'd open up October, in about mid-September to start selling the dates, and I would just sell out. Like, whether it was people that were returning customers or, like, people word of mouth, um, I'd just sell out, and then, like, people would be frustrated if they didn't get on my schedule, and it's like, I'm one person.
Right.
And then it's like I ended up getting pregnant around the October, November-ish timeframe.
Sure,
'Cause,
sure, of
like, it
course.
was planned. Like, we for some reason, like, Adam left his job, I was doing Beehive Mills, it was like, "This would be a wonderful time to have another child." I had, like, a 10-month-old, like, we want 'em to be close together, like, I
Right.
don't know. So, it
Yeah.
wasn't an accident, and so I
Premeditated. Makes sense. I mean, it really does. It adds up. It adds up.
yeah. And so I get pregnant and then we always look at ourselves and it was like, I think, um, overall in, um, let's see, not 2019, we did about $30,000 in sales
Okay.
and about 5,000 of that came in December. And we always look at that because it's like less than all the other months. And it's like, well, why was it less? And I'm always like, I was tired. I was pregnant.
Right.
Like I didn't want to take more on. It's the
Right.
holidays. I was first trimester pregnant. So we, um, continued to kind of just view this as a side hustle. Adam was still looking for a full-time job. Um, and it was about February of 2020 when it was kind of like, okay, like people are coming back month after month. I'm pregnant. I need help. We're driving enough revenue for me to hire some people to help me. So it just made sense at that time. So I brought on 2 employees in February of 2020 and it was March of 2020 when the pandemic hit, right? It
Mhm.
was like I think it was like March 16th, and that was actually the day so my husband did get another job. He started at the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, working in their missionary department,
Okay.
and, um, he started on March 16th of 2020 when basically everything shut down. He
Right.
literally showed up to the church office buildings, like, got his laptop, and they're like, "Well, I guess go home."
Right.
Like, nobody's here? So he ended up working from home the entirety of his time there, which was a blessing for us just in lots of different ways. But so March hits of 2020, and luckily I brought on a little bit of help because we just started seeing. I mean, I don't know. Go back to that time when it's like you're not supposed to leave your house. When you do leave your house to go to the grocery store, there's nothing there. Like you
Right.
can't get food. And so there's like just a lot of like scarcity, there's a lot of fear, and we were deemed an essential business where we were able to stay operating as long as we air quotes stood 6 feet apart from each other,
Right.
right? Like
Right.
just sure, that's I don't know how we actually do that, but
Right. 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 We'll figure it out.
and so we just started seeing like month over month over month growth at
Sure.
that time. And it really was I mean, we've been asked, like, or we've been asked, like, "Are you guys a pandemic fluke?" And I'd say, "No." Like, the pandemic helped speed up our growth.
Yes.
Uh, and why we're not a fluke is because we still continue to see growth
Right.
outside the pandemic. It just definitely exponentially sped things up for sure.
Right. Right.
So, I mean, going into, 2020, um, we I had my baby. We were originally working out of a commercial kitchen here in Davis County. We were renting it from a guy that did food trucks.
Uh-huh.
And there was a situation where he came to us like, pandemic hits, food truck business kind of ceased to operate because you have to operate with crowds.
Sure.
People aren't leaving their houses. And so um, he ended up actually approaching us when I was about 7 months pregnant, saying that, like, hey, like, I'm going to get into the freezer meal business. Like, with or without you, essentially. And, long story short, we ended up not going with him, and we ended up getting kicked out of his kitchen
Oh,
because of
interesting.
that. And luckily, we had already kind of seen the writing on the wall with him, and we had started transitioning, finding our own space. So we were able to transition. There was about a 2-week period that our kitchen wasn't ready. He had just kicked us out. We had to get all of our stuff out. And it was like, well, where do we go? I guess our house. And by that time, though, I had like bigger pieces of like equipment,
Sure.
special equipment, like freezers was my main thing. And it was like, okay, like my house isn't set up for this. So it's like we put our freezers in our garage, and then we ran extension cords to different parts of the house, to
Yes.
different like outlets,
Yes.
because we couldn't trip the breakers.
Right. Right. You couldn't be all in one, or you would be yeah.
And so then it'd be like waking up in the middle of the night to make sure freezers are still good, like nothing's tripped. And so we functioned out of our house for about 2 months, got into our new space, had my baby pretty soon after that. I think I took like a 2-day maternity leave.
Right. Of
And
course
then,
you
like,
did. You didn't do a maternity leave. You actually were taking calls in the hospital. I just want you to remind you of that.
oh yeah, I was. Our nurse so I actually we went in, I had my baby, and that was COVID. So it's like, the masks and all the things, and that wasn't fun. But
No.
I do remember my brother-in-law started working for us the day I went into labor. He was just going to help with like deliveries while I had a baby. And I remember it was like a 14-hour delivery route. And I had like customers reaching out saying like, hey, where's my order? And I'd be like, sorry, I just had a baby. Like, my driver's on his way though. And they're like, oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah. Like, I literally just pushed the baby out. But let me see
So
where
I'm in
your
the
meal
nursing
is.
home, and I'm like working and on the phone or emailing customers, and she's like, are you okay? Like, is everything fine? I'm like, yeah, I'm just getting some stuff done. Oh, goodness.
It's so crazy. It's just so crazy the way it all works out. The timing of it is so interesting to me.
Yeah, I don't know. I look back, and it's funny because, so I mean, 2020 was crazy. 2021 was even crazier. Um, just the pandemic, we continued. There was still like, it was still COVID at that time. And so, we still were seeing crazy growth. And it was about mid 2021 when I went to Adam and I was like, I need you full time. Like,
Mhm.
you can't be working, your 9 to 5 job plus helping me. Like, I just need you all in. And he went to quit. And the church was like, no, 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 we need you here. Like, we're aware that you're helping your wife. Like, feel free to like help her as you need, but like, we still need you here. And so it's kind of like, okay. And then we went another 6 months, and it was like, no, like, I really need you.
Right.
I'm drowning. And so he found his replacement there. He left them in a good spot, came on full time. But I look back at everything, like, as we were growing, um, it's kind of like a blur to some extent. And it's so fun because we still have several of our team members who helped us grow throughout that period. And we'll always like sit down and we'll play the like, do you remember when we did this game? Or like, right? Like, do you
Yes.
remember when we did this? Remember when we were bagging meals at 2 a.m.? Or, the power went out, so we couldn't prep. So we had to come back at, 11 p.m. at night because they had to be delivered the next day. And it's just like, oh my gosh, like all these things that like, it's like, how did we function? I don't know, but we did.
You did. You got it done. And that's the beauty of business. Is the beauty of just grit, right? And
Yeah.
um what's so fun though too, I love, like, my cheeks hurt because I'm just like in like a constant smile just listening. But uh I feel like, especially with business and women, and this small little ecosystem we really are a part of, right? It's actually quite fascinating how unique it is. But when we're in the thick of things, we think we're all alone. We really feel like, I bet nobody has ever gone through being kicked out of a warehouse, having to move a warehouse. You're pregnant. You don't quite, now you're plugging in, you're moving everything into your stinking garage, and you got cords going everywhere. And yes, is that situation specific, the freezers and things like that, specific to Beehive Mills and your journey? But it's so funny because as you're telling that story, I think about, I was pregnant with Clancy, and she's our seventh child, and we were still running out of the garage. And my garage, I mean, I got a giant garage, like it's a motor home garage, right? So it's
Yeah.
just tall and big, and we were working out of like my now daughter's room, but we had to run the company out of the house, so everyone was, three kids to a room, and we're running. Luckily, we chose this room because it had a built-in like ghetto desk in the wall. So we were like, oh yeah, this is the perfect space. It's already got a built-in desk. And then we got shelves everywhere. But it was in that time that we found like the perfect space. It was in Lynn. It was very inexpensive. It fit our budget. And here I am, like 3 weeks away from having a baby, and we are moving this massive. The timing of it was so crazy, but we all have similar stories. They're a little different, right? But it's that journey of entrepreneurship and running a business and recognizing, oh, I'm not crazy. Like,
Yeah.
and in recognizing that, it gives you strength. It gives you power. It helps you recognize that this is part of the journey, and it's powerful, and you learn so much from it. And at the end, it really is about, honestly, the memories too. And if we can remember that and remember I think that's a really cute way to do it. Like, let's play remember when, because I've got a couple employees. My cute little office manager, she's been with me for 15 years. She actually started as my nanny. So she was like in the insides of like the chaos of all these tiny children, right? Um, and then ended up coming and helping manage. But she would have a lot of do you remember when uh, memories. But it's just fun to listen to your story and listen to everyone's story and to sit here and be like, wow, this really is part of the process. It
Yeah.
really is part of learning how to do it better and be stronger and smarter and wiser, all because of it.
Yeah, well, and I think that's like on that note, like it's so important to find that community. And that's where I think like one, Female Founders Only has done a really good job at that. And that's where, we connected. It's where I connected with a lot of some of my like dear friends now that I
Hmm.
just met just over 2 years ago. And now it's like, I don't know how I'd live without you. Right.
Right,
And
right.
so it's this like finding this community because finding people that are going through similar, very different things, right? Like I'm food, you're, clothing.
Hmm.
Belle, she's bags. I've got Rena with Perk Energy is one of my dear friends, and she does like supplement type drinks and like so all these like different areas that we're all in, yet there's still so many like similarities. I
Hmm.
mean I mean you could say we're all, D2C and e-com and like all of that, but it is this like being able to talk about it's almost like we talk about our trauma in some sense, and it's like just having somebody be like, "Oh my gosh," you're like, "Yes, I totally get it." Like, and it's just like instead of like, you talk to other people and they're like, "Oh, that sounds hard."
Right, right. They're like, oh, okay. My favorite line is, but at least you get to work for yourself. I'm like, uh, that makes me laugh so hard. You're like, okay,
I guess that's true.
yeah, I guess. Yeah, that's great. It's so true. Well, what, like, in the early stages, what is something that you're most proud about?
I think our ability to pivot really quickly. Um, I think our ability to be flexible. I mean, I just think of like early stages. One, this wasn't ever supposed to be what it was or like has turned into.
Right.
And so being able to, I almost think that helped in a sense that it's like I wasn't putting all of our eggs in one basket. This was kind of a side hustle that turned like main
Big deal.
full
It's a big
plus.
deal. Yeah.
And so it never because it was always just the side hustle mentality, it was kinda like, "Yeah, like, let's try that. Let's adjust. Let's" like I didn't have all this, like, skin in the game that is like, "This has to work out because 'cause we're all in on this." But it allowed us like, Adam had his full-time job that allowed me to maybe take a little bit more risk, but it was still very, like, calculated risk. I mean, something I'm really proud of is we've scaled the company, um we still own 100% of the business, never taken investment on. We've really just cash flowed the business. So
Hmm.
we've made strategic decisions as we've grown, and we've really just like grown as the business needed to grow,
Mm-hmm.
if that makes sense.
Yeah, it does.
It hasn't been until this last year that we are going like big, huge investment. Like we just purchased a 60,000 square foot building that we're building out with massive equipment and freezers and some semi automation. And so, like, we are right now, we are a very manual, like, process. Like, I have 120 employees, and about 30 of those are like management or office. Like, the remainder is all like prepping the mills, shipping the mills, like packaging the mills, all these things. And so, like, we're finally making investments, um, so that as we scale, like, I don't have, 1,000 employees to continue to
Right.
grow, to keep kind of a leaner team, but
Mhm.
they're able to produce more. So, it's just been really, like, I think our flexibility and our scrappiness, we're extremely scrappy, um and just able to make quick decisions. And because Adam and I still own 100% of the company, I don't have to consult with,
Sure.
investor, this or that. Like, I'm just able to make a decision and move forward.
Sure. Sure. What do you feel like have been some of the I just listening, I remember you saying at the very beginning that you didn't even really go to school. You don't have a degree.
Yeah.
You didn't have an education to be able to kind of lean into. But what do you feel like are some of the things that you were educated with that allowed, not allowed, but almost I always think it's so fascinating as I listen to people's stories of how God really is in the details, right? He
Yeah.
truly is in them. And he'll take the smallest of efforts that we deem minuscule and not even worth anything. And those tiniest little efforts, those tiniest little gifts, and he can magnify them into these just incredible stories, right? And these incredible experiences. So, what do you feel like are some of those things that you didn't realize, but those experiences in your life that kind of helped you be be ready to take something on, take this on?
Yeah. I love that question because I've had this conversation with several people, but I mean, when you say, like, God is in the details, like, God really is in the details. And I look back to even when Adam and I were engaged. So, I mean, we're been married for about 13 years now. And wait, hold on, 12 years now. We just hit 12.
6, 7.
We're 12 years. So, when we were engaged, so it's like literally everything in our story, I feel like, has led up to Beehive Mills. It's like we get engaged, and I used to be awful with money. It was like this, like, because I didn't have any responsibility. Like, I remember, this is a sad story, but I went to college at UVU. I was on a full ride, like, academic scholarship that paid for, I guess, like, paid for all my schooling, right? I still had to pay for housing and stuff like that. And my mom paid for my housing. So I didn't have to pay for like school or housing. And I still couldn't pay for my food because I bought so much, like, clothes. And I remember, like, calling my mom crying one time and being like, "Mom, I have no money." And I was, like, just, like, needing her to buy me food. And she, like, I don't know, she could access my bank account. She, like, got in there. She's like, "What's this $400 charge to the mall?" I'm like, "Yeah. Bring my food."
Yeah, yeah. Mom, don't you know the mall has a grocery store now?
So I mean, I share that because I was really bad with spending money. Like, I just was so bad. So when Adam and I got married, I remember, or engaged, I remember, I think my brother said to him, like, "You realize Allyse is like a spender, right? Like, so you're gonna have to make money." And funny enough, like, Adam, so I was 19, Adam was 27. There's an 8-year age
Oh,
gap.
I didn't realize that.
Yeah.
Huh.
And so he had already graduated from BYU. He was in his master's program at the U, and he had just gotten a good job. He just switched jobs. And it was like, and I remember being such a brat, and it was a good paying job, but I, like, got his paycheck. The first one, I was like, "That's it? That's all it is?" Like, oh my gosh. So he was at that job for 3 months, and then that company was a tech company. They cut the entire division.
Mm.
So, like, nothing that had to do with him and performance, but it was all of a sudden, like, Adam didn't have a job.
Right,
And we were, like, about to get married, and I was like, "Oh, like, we don't have money."
right.
And our bishop at the time gave me a book, And it was like it's the 4 laws of financial prosperity. He's like, read this. And I read it and it legit like changed my life. And I was like, oh, we can live on like nothing. It was like then my mission to like live on, like I will spend $50 a month on groceries. And we bought a trailer, like a mobile home. That's what we lived in because my parents helped us buy like the physical trailer. It was like $11,000. And then we
Okay.
just paid them back because I didn't
Yes.
have $11,000. And then it was just like $400 a month for like the park rent. And I was like, that's cheaper than anything else that like,
Sure.
yeah. And we have like 3 bedrooms and all these things.
You're
So
living the high life.
I am living the high life in my trailer. So
That guy has to laugh.
I love it.
I love it too. It's such a good story.
I love it. So we lived in our mobile home. And so I had mentioned like Adam lost his job. It took him a year to find a job.
Oh,
And it was
interesting.
this like situation where he would apply for something. He didn't have the job experience, but then he was overqualified on schooling. Like he was getting his master's and they're like, oh, well, you're just going to leave us as soon as you get your, like finish your MBA. And it's like, I just need a job right now.
Right, right.
And so it took a year and he finally landed a job at Market Star in Ogden. And he'd been there previously. He was actually there before he got this other job. I think the other company was Landesk, that he was there so shortly, but that he was laid off from.
Okay.
And so he went back to Market Star, but they hired him in email marketing automation. And he didn't have the experience, but they paid for him to get his certificate, essentially. He had to go get this like, training in, it's Marketo is the software. So he gets Marketo certified. They paid for it. He starts working there. He was there for about a year. And then he got a job offer from Qualtrics. And it was like, that's a big tech company here in Utah,
Sure.
And it was a very good paying job. It relocated us back down to Provo. So we moved down there and he worked in marketing, automation, marketing operations at Qualtrics and ran their global, I don't know, thing. He could tell you what he did, but I know he ran like a pretty, like he was the guy running their email stuff. And so he moved down there. And while he was there, he ended up meeting a guy that ended up putting him in touch with this small business owner, which Adam eventually left Qualtrics to go small business. He was there for 2 years. Unfortunately, that company went under. And that's really what led to Beehive Mills. So it was almost this like round circle of like, there was a year when we were first married where Adam couldn't get a job. But like looking back, that was the biggest blessing ever because had he not gotten that specific job, got that training, went to Qualtrics, his name is Josh. He met Josh, who put him in touch with, his new boss. They transition. And then through all of that as well, when going back to when we were first married, Adam was in his program at the U and he had an entrepreneurial teacher, a course, and his teacher there basically talked about how like entrepreneurship is a game. It's not this like you don't have to go all in. Like it could be a side hustle, you make $5, you win. Like it's kind of practice. He would he compared it to like surfing, that it's like, surfing, you're gonna need to practice on like the baby waves, like the white water, right?
Right.
You're not gonna go out the first time you try to go surfing and hit the big waves.
Sure.
And so while he was in that program, he ended up starting a wooden sunglass company, running it through crowdfunding. So like Indiegogo was our first campaign, and then there's Kickstarter, which Kickstarters. And we were able to, so this is while he was at Market Star, it transitioned. We were in Provo while he was at Qualtrics. We were still running this business on the side, but it was just like that good little like dip our toes in the water as far as like entrepreneurship. And we ended up exiting that company to a partner. That's another long story, but we ended up leaving that, sold it to a partner, and we knew we wanted to do something else. We just didn't know what.
Sure.
And so that was the intriguing piece of Adam going and working. He transitioned away from Qualtrics to go work small business because they were a product and packaging design firm. And their pitch kind of was like, well, they would create products for like all these big companies like doTERRA, Young Living, a lot of
Oh,
MLMs.
interesting. Yeah.
And then they do all their packaging And their idea was like, we have all these product designers, like we can create products, and like Adam's kind of like the marketing piece, like you
Mhm.
can kind of come in and market them and that. So he transitioned because it was like, oh, like we should get to do like lots of small business type kind of projects.
Sure.
And again, unfortunately, it was like one project that the owner took, invested way too much in, is kind of what crumbled the whole house. Um, but it was just so many like little things that is like, well, if that hadn't happened, like we wouldn't have done this, which led
Right.
to this. And so I just see God's hand so much throughout our journey that I can very clearly see, like when you're in the thick of things and you're like, why is this happening to me? It's like, okay, I understand why now. So I feel like there's times where we can look back in our life, and particularly like when we were first married and Adam didn't have a job for the first year. And it was like, I was working as a dental assistant at the time. I'm making like $10 an hour. And it was kind of like, that's what we lived on in our little
Wow.
trailer. Like
In your trailer.
I spent $50 a month on food. Like I was still trying to go to school. Adam was going to school for his master's. And we were really gung ho on like coming out of that debt free, which we were able to. Again, I still like, I'm kind of like, I don't know how.
Right.
But it was just like, why is this happening? And then looking, I mean, now down 12 years later, it's like, okay,
Right.
well, that had to happen. Like,
Right.
and if anything, I think it taught me one, I mean, I talked about specifically I was very bad with money. Like that actually made me like get really good with not
Sure.
a lot of money.
Sure.
And so it's like I became like super focused on budgeting, which has actually set us up very well from like, running a business. Like I
Mhm.
run a very tight like budget on the business. We're scrappy. Like if we don't have the money for something, we don't get it. Like if the money's there, great, like invest in it. But I think there were all these little things that like one, I had to grow up. I was only 19 when I got married. I
Yeah.
don't know why Adam married me. I was so immature.
I know why.
And it's this like, I don't know. I had to grow up a lot. I had to go through, I think, harder things
Mhm.
younger. So that like going through Beehive Mills, even having kids, like having kids is hard. Like running a business is hard. Like these are all really hard things. And I feel like I was just being prepared to be able to handle those things.
Sure. I want to know, I'm just curious, at what point was it in that year of budgeting that you started to do freezer meals? Like what gave you the skills? Because that was one of the things you were good at is specifically freezer meals. So where did that come in?
So I grew up in a household where my mom made dinner every single night. It was
Okay.
like the homemade dinner, like we rarely got takeout. Even when they would like go out of town, my mom would like pre-prep casseroles, like
Oh,
casseroles.
interesting.
Like so there'd be like, chicken enchiladas or, all these different things in the freezer that whoever was watching it, spaghetti casserole, which is really good.
Without the ketchup.
Without the ketchup. So there'd be all these like 9 by 13 pans of frozen dinners ready to go for whoever was watching us.
Huh.
And so as Adam and I were married, it was like freezer meals are something that like I can prep a bunch at once, store them in our freezer. So when we moved down to Provo, it was 2016. I was pregnant with our first.
Okay.
And that was kind of when we moved away. Um, we were in Layton beforehand. I was going to Weber State. Weber State has a really good dental hygiene program. I was trying to get in there. Adam ended up relocating us to Provo. UVU also has a good dental hygiene program, but some of my credits didn't transfer. And I was like, I'm not redoing these
Mm.
classes. Like,
Hmm.
so at that point, I was pregnant. I was like, okay, like, I guess I'm not finishing school. Like, I'm just going to
Right.
be a stay-at-home mom.
Okay.
And so I was about 6 months pregnant, and I mean, you've had 8 kids, nesting mode, when it's like
Yep.
all of a sudden it's like, I gotta get everything done, and I have like so much desire to get
Yes.
absolutely
It's
everything
my
done.
favorite time of pregnancy. It really is.
And so 6 months in, I go into nesting mode. It's kind of like, okay, I am gonna get so much freezer meals done that I don't have to cook for like months after this. I don't know, like I feel like it's that ADHD. Like when you go do something, like you're gonna do it.
Yeah,
Like
you're all in. All
so
in.
it took me an entire week to plan what I was prepping, to grocery shop for it, prep it. I prepped 80 meals for us.
What? Where did you put them all? Like you're in a trailer.
No, so this was in Provo. We moved to Provo.
Oh, okay.
We turned
Okay.
it into a townhouse.
But still, do you have an extra freezer?
Yeah, so luckily our townhouse had a garage.
Okay.
It was it might have been a 2-car garage. Maybe 1 car. Anyways, but it had enough room for a deep freezer.
So did you have to go buy one?
My mother-in-law, they had an extra one.
Okay.
We were gifted this old deep.
Okay.
So we had this deep freezer in our garage, and I filled it with 80 meals. The hard thing is
80 meals?
And yes, and they all served like 6 servings. And
So you
there was
really
a
made
lot-
160 because you only have 3 people in your family.
Yeah. And so then it was like a lot of because I prep like 10 to 15 of one meal. So it's like, okay, like I have 6 variations and I have 80 of these. And so it's like, oh wow, like we're gonna get sick of these real quick.
Really fast.
So I realized pretty quickly after I did that, I'm like, oh, I overdid it. And
Yeah.
that was excessive.
Right.
So we
Right.
were in a ward down in Provo. They found out I had 80 freezer meals in my freezer. And they're like, oh, you are now over compassionate service in relief.
Oh, perfect.
And so
Perfect.
it was in our neighborhood. It was without fail. There was babies being born like every other week.
Interesting.
Or people having surgery or people getting sick. So it was a situation where it's like I would cook one and I'd take it to them warm. And then I would leave them with like 2 to 3 frozen ones.
Oh, that's awesome. Yeah.
Because a lot of times when, you have a baby or surgery or something happens, it's like there's so much help the first week or 2.
Yes, it's true.
And then it dies off. And like if you just had a new baby, like you're exhausted by week 3 and now you have no help.
Right, exactly.
That's when like the sleep deprivation is there and all these things. So we got a lot of really good feedback from that. And I'd never thought like, oh, I should turn this to a business. Like at that point, it was much more like, that was really cool. Like food has a really powerful effect to like ease people's burdens. So that was in 2016. That was really the first like kind of touch on that. And I continued to prep freezer meals. It wasn't to that extent as far as like, I'm going to do 80 at once. Like that was excessive.
Right.
But I continued to do the freezer meals for our family. And that's kind of what led 2019 hits this idea of like, oh, I could do this. I've done this for other people to some extent. I didn't charge them.
Yeah.
I did a service.
Right.
But
yeah,
they had done it before.
Sure. That's cool. Obviously, the whole reason for the name of Her Layered Life is I just am super passionate about all the tiny little layers that are built up to get us to where we are, right? And it doesn't just happen overnight. Literally, it doesn't. And that's the fun little layer of this. You're raised in a home where that's what you saw your mom doing, and you found a lot of goodness in that, and then all of a sudden you're nesting and you're like, yeah, I'm going to go make freezer meals and I'm going to make 80 of them. And, and again, like the Lord will take our skills and our strengths and just the basic things that we're like, bro, I make a freezer meal. It's not that deep, but it really has become the essence of your family. I mean, it's your lifestyle now, these freezer meals.
Yeah. Well, and it makes it, I feel like when you turn something into a business, you have to love it, or else if you're just doing it to chase money, like you're not going to be successful. Maybe you'll be successful. You're probably miserable. So it's like where I took something that truly, like I'm my first customer. I legit use our meals. I have already cooked 5 of them this week. I cooked.
Oh, wow.
Let's see we're on Friday. So I did Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday night dinners. Yeah. And then I cooked an extra one on Monday for lunches for Adam and I for a couple days this week.
Oh, that's so smart.
Like, I have legit used 5 freezer meals this week.
Yeah.
And like, it truly is a part of my life. People always ask, like, do you actually use them? Like, yes.
Yes, I do actually.
And like tonight we're planning on getting takeout. That's why there's not one in my crock pot.
Right.
But,
right.
If we weren't, there'd be one. So it is something that like I am my first customer, which I think helps as we've scaled the business, that I know who my demographic is. I know what they want. There are people that order our meals, obviously, and it doesn't make sense for them. It's, you know, it's if you get it, you get it, which you get
Mhm.
it, right?
I get it.
And so if you don't, like, that's fine. Like, and there are other alternatives out there. But I just think being my first customer, having it be something that I use daily, just helps as we've scaled the business as well. And there is this aspect when I was writing my list of things I was good at, it was kind of funny because I never intended this to scale, but, and I don't share this super often with people, but, I wrote my list of things down and I was going through the different things. It's like crocheting and baking. And it's like crocheting is something that like would take a lot of time and not a lot of return. Baking is a very like, I think baking, I do it because I enjoy it, not because I like, if somebody orders a cake for $100, like it better be perfect. And that's
Right.
kind of just like, that's a little bit like too high stress for me. And then the freezer meals though, I remember looking at my list and I had this thought, and I know it wasn't my thought because it
Mhm.
was like, you can scale this. And it's like, but I wasn't even thinking about like that. That wasn't the point of this, but it was
Mhm.
like, I distinctly remember looking at that and it's like, freezer meals, I can teach somebody to put food in a bag. I
Mhm.
can teach somebody to deliver. Like, so it was like this weird, like, I wasn't planning on this at all, yet I had that thought at that time. And so it's like, I know that, like, God had his hand in that part of my life.
I love that you just said that naturally. I call those Eve moments. I don't know why. I always think about Eve in the garden, like when she had to really decide, right? Like, was she going to eat the fruit or not? And I really believe it was an inspired choice. And she knew that if she ate the fruit, that things would change, but it was exactly the way the Lord intended and needed it to be. And in her decision, she actually, it wasn't about just her and Adam. It was about the billions and billions of children waiting to come down.
Yeah.
And because she chose it, it affected the ripple effect, as we all know, is the history of mankind, right? And I think we all have those Eve moments. I think that we have Eve moments that we can decide. You can decide whether or not you are going to take this little skill that you had developed and you were going to put it out there. And in doing so, in that moment where you decided to make your little Adobe post of pictures on Facebook, um, in that moment, you decided to heed that nudge and to follow that prompting. And in doing so, the ripple effect, you have literally blessed millions of people's lives. And
Yeah.
it's fascinating. It's exciting. I believe we all have them. It's just a matter of recognizing them and recognizing that most of the time our Eve, not most, all of the time, I believe Eve moments are not just about us. They're about the people that will be blessed because we choose in that moment to do something hard and to do something a little bit out of the ordinary. But that's a fun, that's such a fun story, such a fun moment to realize.
Yeah. I think there is this aspect of like, there are so many we just did our, so we do quarterly meetings every quarter with our management team, and we've started incorporating a team building activity afterwards. And this last one, it was just a couple weeks ago, we put together kind of like game show type games. We did like Family Feud and Jeopardy. So basically like asking questions about Beehive Mills, and I put all the questions together, and there was kind of a joke question in there. It was kind of a joke, kind of not, but it was like Jeopardy, the 1,000 point, like Beehive Mills history. And it was like, in what year did Allyse have a mental breakdown? And it was so funny to see my team be like, 2021, 2020, like, and it's like, no. And it's like, 2023. And it's like, no. And they 20, like, they're naming every year.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Sit back and like, add them all together. And they're like, every year?
Bingo.
It's like truly like it is so hard to run a business. And there's so many, like literally every single year I've had, probably this is the only year that's actually been good. I was actually thinking 2025 has actually been pretty good. But I
I'm
can like,
knocking on wood for you.
well, no, there's still a couple months. But I can think back and there were like huge things that have happened every year as we've grown that it's like, I want to give up. I don't want to do this anymore. This is like so hard. And then it's like you push through it, Like, you kind of just have to do it, and then it's like I look at, like, our product in itself as a service. Like, whether you pay for it or not, like, it is a service to your family and you. And
Mhm.
so it's like we serve our customers. We are able to donate a lot. We donate to Utah Foster Care every single month. That's very near and dear to my heart. I have a niece and nephew that my sister adopted through the foster care system. We donate to teachers. We work with First Lady Abby Cox and her Show Up for Teachers initiative. We donated to 6 or 7 schools at the beginning of the year to the entire staff. So you're talking, hundreds and hundreds of teachers plus admin plus, lunch ladies and janitors and all this stuff getting meals. Um, we are just able to like give back in the community. And then as running a business, like I have a team that like I have a lot of people that provide for their families
Mhm.
by working for us. And it's cool because I meet with several of my team members, and just the culture that we've built at Beehive Mills is something I'm extremely proud of. And it's come from, showing up and like putting in the work and really focusing in on what we want our culture to be and then making sure we have the right people. And we just have such an amazing team that that's really what drives me. And I don't know. I just think that to your point, like we go through hard things. I go through a mental breakdown at least once a year to be able to, continue to serve our customers, continue to employ people and provide, opportunities.
Right. I love that you brought that again, you're bringing up all of these wonderful natural points that I would have asked, but I didn't even have to. But, another reason for her layered life is from female founders that experience for me. And I think I told you a little bit about this. I just felt so impressed of how important it is that we shed more light on women-owned businesses and the importance of support as women that we support women-owned businesses because we are. I don't know if you know this statistic, but 80% of all consumable purchases are actually made by women. We hold the power within our economies to choose how we're going to spend our money. And when we do it intentionally, heartfelt, and intentionally putting it back into the hands of other small businesses, but specifically women owned businesses, I do not believe the ripple effect. I don't think we get it as women when we support women-owned businesses, the ripple effect that women-owned businesses are having in their communities, the the amount of charity work, community services, the amount of women we employ, and the simple basis of most of women-owned companies are actually built because we are trying to make lives for other women easier, more
Mhm.
effective, more comfortable, more economically minded. Like we really are, we're in it for women. We don't even know that we are. Like that's not something we are like
It's just
going and
innate.
saying, yeah,
Yeah.
it's innate within us. And so that you just proved another point and you kind of just, proved another fact that Beehive Mills is not just about food. It's just not about the money, the dollars that are coming every month, but it truly is a company that is designed in a way that culturally you are building a community, a family. And at the very essence, you're building a community, a family within the home, right? Where we are providing meals for families to sit around a table, which is the molecular level, which is powerful in and of itself. But then when you can take that idea and that spark, that nudge, that Eve moment, and you can build it into this company that truly is making a difference, like a big, big difference in lives of all those that get to be associated. That's what it looks like when you support women-owned businesses. And it's powerful and it's important. So that is, um, I love that you just brought that up and that you just organically talked about it because it really is a powerful piece to women, I think in general.
Yeah, I think like the more and more I, meet, female founders and all these things, I do think that that is definitely a similarity between a lot of the personalities, especially the ones that I, gravitate to, where it's like we're all mothers, we're business owners, we're friends, we're sisters, we're not like all these different things. And there's this uniqueness of being a female, being a woman, and owning a business, and like where the empathy comes in, or like just I feel like I make a lot of decisions in Beehive Mills from obviously my perspective, and I'm more of an empathetic individual than maybe some of my male counterparts. And it's not that they don't have empathy, it's just like not their first thing that they kind of like pull
Yeah,
from when making decisions. And so I think it has allowed us to build something unique, something that we've been knocked off time and time again. And it's just been something that like they don't get like the full picture, I don't feel like.
sure.
And I don't know. There is something unique to supporting women, in whatever capacity that is, even if you can't put dollars behind their businesses, right? Like, you know, interact with them on social media, or just speak kindly about, their ideas or this or that or whatever. But yeah, there is just something unique about that.
I love it. So one last question I want to know, are there specific things that you do within your day that you feel like are kind of the bread and butter of how you show up, right? I I get up before my kids, I exercise, in the morning. I literally have this little ritual every morning that I do really. Um, and I know that it is the reason why I can get up and do all the things that I am blessed to do. Do you have certain things within your lifestyle that you feel like prepare you to get up and be Allyse Jackson, the mama of four, wife to Adam, CEO of Beehive Mills? I know you're serving whatever you're doing, probably serving within your church. How do you do it and keep your wits about you?
Yeah. So I will be the first to tell you I have a ton of help. Like, and whatever that looks like, whether it is like at work at this point, like I have a lot of really good people that I have invested a lot of my time and energy into to build them up. So one, I've got a lot of help at Beehive Mills. Two, I have a lot of help at home. We have two different, people that help with our kids. We split up their days. One does Monday, Wednesday, Fridays. The other does Tuesday, Thursdays, so that when they're with our kids, they can be all in with our kids. And so I don't have to feel guilty about being away from my kids.
Mhm.
Um, I hire out house cleaning, laundry, all those things. So it's like you take like all that into account. I've removed as much off of my plate as possible, to be honest. And then as far as like how I function in a day, it comes down to I work really well with like a block type schedule. Like I don't like to be like super rigid in that like I do this and then this and then this. I have my morning block, right? In my morning block, at some point I need to get ready. At some point I get my kids up. At some point we do breakfast. I make it a huge point. We eat breakfast as a family every morning. It's always like a warm. So it's like eggs and toast, or like I don't like cold cereal and all. Like it's just something about this like I provide food is very important to me. Have you
Yes.
noticed? And
Yes.
so
Your love language is food.
it literally is. If
Yes.
if food was a love language, that is my love language.
Yes.
And so it's like breakfast in the morning, right? Then it's like get my kids off. So before this podcast interview, it's like I walk my kids to the bus stop. Like I see them off to school, and then I come home, and at that point, that's my time that I can transition to work. And it's like I have my now work block. I am in my work block right now. I'm not worried about, kids, or, what's happening tonight, or all these different things. And then I have my afternoon block. I set aside and I put it on my calendar. I have a time for a walk every afternoon, and I have a time to go to the gym. So it is literally scheduled in my calendar as if it were a meeting
Mm,
every single day. And I have my personal time, and I take that time, and I've learned about myself because I used to beat myself up because I couldn't wake up early enough to work out before my kids got up. And I just learned like I'm not going to wake up early. Like
mhm.
I'm going to wake up and take care of my kids first thing in the morning, and that's fine.
Love it.
So I set that time aside in the afternoon, and I religiously take it. I go on a walk outside because and a lot of the times in my walks I'm not listening to anything. Like, I'm just like, that's my time to reflect. And that's really important time for me. And then by the time I get to the gym, that's like, okay, put the headphones in, I'm lifting, taking that. And it's more like, okay, I can put some noise in. But like my outside walks are that like peaceful time for me. And then again, 5 p.m. hits and that's family block. That's, we do dinner as a family. We sit down and do dinner. There's, all the kids' sports. There's, bedtime routines. It's, taking the time to hang out with the kids. And my kids love, I found doing things. So it happens that an unknown fact about myself, I love video games. I actually do. I
I just learned
grew up
something
with
new.
a sister that was 4 years older than me. So I played video games growing up.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of the like, I don't know, like role like you're a character and it's in a story like a Zelda or those type of.
Okay. I love
So
it.
my kids though, that's something that like they enjoy video games as well. So we all have like we'll sit down and play video games together.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so it's like that fun like finding things that like my kids and I can do together. Um that it's important to them. It's fun for me. Uh,
Mhm.
so, I don't know, that's kind of a fun thing. We typically play video games together at night, and then, it's wind down. Adam and I have our time together, and we, like, just recoup for the next day, but it's
Sure.
really I work extremely well with a block schedule, like,
Oh,
where it is everything is scheduled in my calendar, morning block, work block, personal block, family block, essentially.
hmm. That's perfect. I love it. That is really, really good advice. If there is one thing you could tell our listeners, one bit of advice that you could tell them, what would you leave with?
Yeah, I think that goes back to I mean, I guess it's, what is your base? Is it, entrepreneurial? Is it, female? But if it's more like from an entrepreneurial standpoint and like just doing something or personal progression, it's this idea around, and this is like so simple, but it's just like do hard things. Like, it's just hard things will make you stronger, whether that's like in any aspect. But like I go to the gym and I lift heavy weights and that's hard. That's gonna make
Mhm.
me stronger. Like I do things in my business that like maybe intimidate me because I have no business background that all of a sudden like I now have people coming to me asking me how I do these things. It's like, oh no, I just figured it out.
Right.
Really, a mantra at Beehive Mills is like, oh no, we'll figure it out.
Yes, I love
So
it.
it's kind of like just do the hard things, get out of your comfort zone, and I kinda just I mean, and then look for God's hand in things because I think you'll see it more often than not.
I love it. I love it. That's perfect. Okay, so to wrap up, we do this little game called Would You Rather? And
Okay.
I've got 5 questions. I've not looked at them. I choose not to look at them because they tickle me when I get to read them out loud. But we're gonna do a little wrap up of Would You Rather, and you're just gonna have to choose. Would you rather this or that? Okay, so
Okay.
here's the first question. Okay, let's see. I gotta find a would you rather questions for you. Answer whatever comes. Okay. Would you rather cook dinner for 100 people or clean up after 10?
I could cook for 100 people.
Would definitely say cook, clean up after 10 because I do it every day.
I don't like cleaning up.
I actually hate it too. That's why Beehive Mills are so awesome. Okay. Would you rather endless supply of freezer meals? This is this is not a great one because this is job security on the line right now. Endless supply of freezer meals or never grocery shopping again.
Well, isn't that the same thing? If I have an endless supply of freezer meals, I don't have to really grocery shop.
That's true. That's a dumb one.
Bull.
That was
My
good.
grocery bills are very low because I have my Beehive Mills, I will say
That's
that.
true. I
By,
mean, it
like,
really is
once
kind of cool.
a month.
Yeah, you're right. You gotta get your hot breakfast on.
Yeah, really.
Okay. This is awesome. This is gonna be a hard one for you, I think. Would you rather start another business or take a year off from your business to travel?
Oh, yeah. So I'm starting another business, so that's hard. No, I think start another business. I mean, taking off time obviously is important. I don't need a year. I think that would drive me crazy.
Drive you cuckoo?
Yeah. Sorry about
Okay.
this.
Okay, last one. Would you rather relive your first year of Beehive Mills or skip ahead 10 years to see what Beehive Mills become?
Oh, absolutely skip ahead. I'm that person that if I start reading a book and it's too, like,
Oh
suspenseful,
my gosh, you're
I
so
go back,
naughty.
read the end, so then I can just chill out the rest of the time. I love to know. If I watch, like, reality say, like, The Bachelor, I
Yes.
just wanna know who he picks, and then I'll
Okay.
watch the season.
Really?
Yes, I like to know the ending.
That is so funny. You're like Charlie, my oldest, and my sister, and it literally I'm like, "What is the point? What is the point?"
So that I can just chill out. I can chill out and learn more things.
Oh, I love it. I love it. Well, Allyse, thanks so much. Thanks for joining me. It has just been so fun. I knew I would love this interview so much because I just adore you and I appreciate taking the time because I know you are so stinking busy with so many things. But um, thanks for being on and thanks for taking the time. And just know that you've got us admire over here in Provo, Utah, loving everything you're doing.
Yeah, well, thanks for having me. That was fun.
That was super fun. Thanks for joining us today so much. I love it. And let's remember when women support each other with intention, we rise together. Your dollar is more than currency, it's influence, it's change, it's empowerment. Because business isn't just about growth, it's about giving back, feeding families, and strengthening communities. So until next time, let your choices shape the world you want to see and love every layer of your life.